Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. My name is Paul Shelley and I am a design team member for Stamps by Me. I've had a few requests recently to show you how I approach the HD3D embossing folders, so I thought tonight I'd take the time and show one of the latest releases, Love and Happiness. Now, I did fully intend on recreating one of my samples. It's gone in somewhat of a different direction. However, I am still pleased with it and I really hope you like it too. If you've got the time, let me know what you think. And again, thanks so much for watching. Okay then, so let's start with what you'll need. You'll need your embossing folder, your HD3D embossing folder. The one that we're using today is the Love and Happiness one. This one here. I love it. It's amazing. It's very grungy. It's very abstract. It's so arty. It's right up my street. Love it. You're going to need some card. Now I'm using Bristol board. I really like Bristol board actually. I'm using it quite a lot at the moment. Fantastic for blending, Bristol board. It's actually two different types of paper stuck together, is basically what Bristol board is, but it does hold ink really well. And I like that it's a bit like this one is slightly off-white, which I prefer. So have a look at that because it is a bit cheaper than watercolour card generally. Really good, really lovely results in it, but blends really well. Illustrators use Bristol board quite a lot for sort of inky pen work, and you can add water to it. It's great stuff. So you're going to need those. We're going to use 3 ink pads, which I'm using Pretty Colour Inside Bittersweet and also Pretty Colour Inside Sherbet. Again, these are Stamps by Me products. Incredible, awesome. Don't think they're ever going to run out. That's what it feels like anyway. So juicy. We love them. I'm also going to use a Distress Oxide Black Soot. Love this. Fabulous. Brilliant stuff. As well as those 3 ink pads, I thought we would use some gesso. Now, gesso I'm pretty new to actually, but the last sort of 6 to 8 months I've become a little obsessed. Seem to be putting it on everything. Now, I don't recommend any particular brand on it. Use what you like. In fact, the one I'm using is the De La Rowney Simply range, which is like their budget range. And I think I had this from Poundland. It wasn't £1, but it was certainly cheap. So there's that. I've just decanted it into a little takeaway pot so that I don't waste any and I can put the lid on. I do also like that when it dries up a bit, it gets a bit chunky. Adds a bit more texture when you're adding it onto things. So that's the white gesso. You've then obviously got your mats and layers, but we all know how to do that, don't we? Fabulous. Okay, so here we go. We've got the embossing folder, we've got the Bristol board. The Bristol board is cut down to 5 3/4 inches because the embossing folder is approximately 6 inches square. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the embossing folder and add some ink to it. Now, I favour the side that's printed with a HD3D. So this is the bit that feels more raised than the other side. Take your ink pads, randomly drop a bit on. Now with these you need hardly anything. Give it a spray. Not too much. We're then going to pop your card in and we're going to run it through the embossing folder. I've already marked it, but as soon as we're going for a grungy sort of look, it doesn't really matter too much. So we're going to go in at that. Pop it on your plates and run it through your embossing folder. Now I'm using a cut and emboss, so all I do is take out one of the A plates. That seems to work for me. Here we go. Now what you'll find with this technique is actually you're gonna repeat the process so many times until you like it, basically. So I'm going to run it through more than once. Don't think you've got to run it through once or twice and then that's it. You really don't. So there we go. We've got one colour in. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly dry that off. Okay, so that's dry enough for now. What we're going to do is we're going to repeat the process and we're going to go in with a bit of orange. Now you could have done this all in one go and you'd have got slightly different effects. Just think layers though. The more layers, the more depth. And plus the fact, especially when using like a yellow ink pad, you don't really want to contaminate the actual substance itself. So it depends what colours I'm using, to be fair, whether I do it in 2 stages or 1 stage or whatever else. So we're going to repeat it again. I'm just going to randomly play with it. I'm not worried about going to the ends because I quite like it when it's a bit lighter on the ends. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes the water and the ink pushes out, but it's one of those things. You just don't know what's going to happen, and that makes it even more fun. A bit more water. Let's drop him in again. Now this time what you're going to have to do is, because you've already got the emboss, you need to sort of marry it up. And again, because the technique's pretty forgiving, well, see, I've actually gone to put it in the wrong way already. No, I haven't. What I've done is I've inked the wrong side. Second step, Paul. Wrong already. Just wipe that off. So, let's do that correctly this time. Yeah, so I've got HD3D that side. We're just going to go in just randomly. Different colours, you're going to get different effects, aren't you? You'll get different effects dependent upon how often you run it through as well, and repeat the processes with other bits that we'll come to. But I'm going to marry that up. I'm going to jiggle it until I feel it lock in. I'm going to just run my fingers around to make sure it's locked in all areas, which it seems to be. I'm going to close it shut, and I'm going to come in again with my plates so that I may emboss them. While that's going through, I'm going to do a quick wipey. Somebody just texted me. I am so sorry. There we go. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, yes. See, it looks nice like that. But then, I do favour the more abstract, to be fair. Part of my biggest problem is I never know when to stop, actually. And so often I'll go too far and then the girls in the design team will tell you, then I throw it away. I'll have spent all day making cards and only walk away from the day having made one. Okay, quick wipey. So this is a point really where we need to push some of this back. So we're going to take the gesso, and what we're going to do is we're going to sort of dry brush over the relief. Now I'm not going to just keep it to the relief. I do like it when it's sort of like it jumps on the flat parts of the page as well, because it does sort of dry with a sort of sandy texture almost. So get yourself a flat brush, any flat brush really, something that's not too expensive. Like I wouldn't use one of my posh watercolor brushes for it. In fact, I usually use a bigger brush, but because I've done quite a few of these recently, they're all wet, and I like to start off with a dry brush. So, bit of gesso, just take it lightly onto your brush, and literally you're just going to run your brush initially over the embossed parts, the raised parts. So just catch everything that you can. Don't worry if you get lines, you can tidy it up. And the chances are you're going to probably do this again at some point. What seems to happen as well is that it stiffens the bits that are raised. So actually the more you emboss it, so I went a bit heavy there, so I'm just sort of raising it out a bit. Just don't think about it. Yeah, the more you sort of put this on and emboss it, it sort of firms up the embossed raised parts. It's funny because on Create & Craft they usually mention that, oh yeah, Paul's done that with acrylic and stuff. I really haven't. But it's funny. It does look like an acrylic effect, to be fair. So there we go. That sort of picked that up. Now actually, had I have done that before, I'd be quite happy to leave it at that. Sorry. Table's probably wobbling. Light's probably failing me. It is on a night time that I'm recording this. But looks good, doesn't it? Let's dry it off. Okay, so we're dry enough now. This is the point in which we start talking and thinking about the Distress Oxide. Now, obviously, feel free to change the colours. The sample that's shown on TV is actually, it looks like I've put browns in. And I haven't. I think it's just because I have worked and worked over it. So I just love it. What we're going to do this time though is we're going to take the Black Soot Distress Oxide and use any colours you like. Again, we're just going to stick some on, any old fashioned. Now what I would suggest you do initially is try it first without spraying water on the black. What that tends to do actually is put in nice line work, but doesn't actually saturate everything in black. Even though you put quite a lot of ink on there. see what that looks like, and then if it's not enough, what you can do is either spray your cardstock as it comes out and let it bleed out, or you can do it again and spray the embossing folder itself. There would probably still be enough oxide ink on there to do that without re-inking, so let's try that. Different, isn't it? See how much is still on there? You see, I want more personally. So what I'm going to do is I'm just literally going to spray the ink that's already there. The ink that's already on the card is still likely to be wet. We'll marry it back up and we'll go again. Yeah, just make sure it's clicked in. That looks completely different to my sample, but oh, I actually really love it. Sorry, just cleaning in between. If I don't clean in between, I'll get in a right mess. Wow. Can you see that? I'm not sure how great this is picking it up on the camera, but actually it's really almost graffiti style. I love it. Again, I'd probably almost stop at that normally. But I'm going to dry it off. Well, see, I can't tell you how much I like that now. Like, if I was to put that on my pre-cut sort of mats and layers that I haven't actually stuck down, look at that. I think that's better than my original sample. However, I'm trying to get it as close as I can so that you understand the process. To be fair, it is my kind of style. Like, no two cards generally, and you'll know if you've watched my other video before, when I first started, no two cards really are identical. You see, even if I just at this point, I would take now, normally, just, rather than white gesso, I would do like a white acrylic or a white gouache or I used that Dr. Phil Martin's Bleed Proof White, which is incredible. I'm running low on that as well, though. Just to add, it'd be even more of a highlight over the gesso, because gesso will never really completely cover anything unless you layer it. But something that's a bit more pigmented would. But what we're going to do, we're going to try and get it more like the one on one of my samples, which ended up being more sort of brown tones. And in all honesty, that's only happened because the colours have blended so much. So we're going to go for it. Part of the reason mine change and are different as well, to be fair, are that because I do work them and work them and work them, when you try and recreate it again, you forget, well, you might not necessarily do things the same amount of times, use the same amount of ink, use the same amount of water, run them through as many times, etc., etc. I mean, if that isn't abstract, I don't know what is. Let's try it. Love it. Okay, so I'm going to do another pass of black. So again, there's my words. I'm going to ink that up. I'm just going to focus on the centre. Get quite a lot in this time, because then I might spray the whole card afterwards as well. Quick spray. Line him up. Click him in place. Run him through. Oh, I just love it. Let's just wipe that down. So we're going to then go back in again with the white gouache. It's not white gouache at all, or gouache, or gouache, as our Khalid say. You see what's happened here actually is I haven't quite lined it up or it's moved, which again I actually love. Look at that. I'm really going to town with the gesso this time. It's kind of one of those things that you just keep going at until you think you should stop. Intuitive crafting. I think that's what they call it. You see, what you could do now is dry that off. It's definitely double done there. See what happens with a bit of water. See if the colours blend a little. I love this bit here. Dry it off. I'm losing a lot of the colour. I'm going to try just add a bit more in, and I'm going to not do my own rule and put both on. But I went lightest first, so spray it with a bit of that. Let's go in there a bit more. It'll be harder to line up now because it's got two sets of sort of ditches to line up into. This is probably where I ruin it. Let's do it anyway. Sod it is what I say. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. That is insanely abstract. I really like it. What I'm going to do, actually, let's just put it on the black. Let's put it on the bigger piece of black. Look at that. So different, isn't it? And I love that it's double sort of embossed. Now all that colour is sort of seeping into the gesso. So it's sort of, it looks like it's been watercoloured that way on purpose. This would be a good shout now just to take even an acrylic or a gouache or this bleed proof white. Just try a bit of dry brushing on that. Now I am going to grab a different brush completely. Slightly smaller. And I'm just going to use it like a highlight over some of it. Hardly any pressure. Just try and get the raised bits. Try and go in different directions. You'll pick much more up then. It actually reminds me of something, and I can't for the life of me think what it reminds me of. And it doesn't even look like an embossing folder anymore. You know that an embossing folder has made it anyway. Let's try it off. What do we think, guys? I'm not entirely sure the light's going to be doing it justice, to be honest. Now you see, on the other one, just make sure I'm not on a dirty glass mat. Eight by 8 card. I was gonna do, because on the other one I went with various. Oh my god, look how that pops differently. I really hope you can see what I can see, because in the light, just around the edges and things, the way the colours change, it almost looks like you spent hours doing oil colours, you know, blending. I love it. But I don't know whether it should go like that, or whether we should just go straight onto black. It's quite nice as well. No, I think it's got to be that. Executive decision. Let's do it. So 5 3/4 inch by 5 3/4 inch. You could also sort of run an ink pad and stuff around it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just mat and lay onto this, which is, okay, I think it's 5 7/8. But bear in mind, I was never taught inches at school. I'm of that generation where they taught you the metric system, but then as you come out of it, you don't actually use it for everything. So if I'm measuring a piece of furniture, I'll do it in centimeters and meters. Yet if I'm cutting a piece of fabric or making a card, I'll do it in inches. Feet I have absolutely no idea on unless I'm measuring myself and how tall I am. It's the same with weights. I'm of the lost, don't know what to do. See, that is just so different. I don't know whether I'd like it just on a 6 by 6 card. No, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Finger mark already. Let's put it the other way. You could, of course, choose to have it in different ways. Now, as I'm putting this on, I've just realised what I actually did with my other one was this final layer I actually put on with foam tape, so it popped out the page a bit more. But we all know we're like, there we go. Considering there is only 2 colours of ink pad, well, 3 including the oxide, well, that's black, and a bit of gesso. The tones in there are so different. Right, we need a sentiment. Good old washi tape. Love you more with a heart. Why not? I'm going to just go flat. Come out, come out. So there we go, guys. I hope you like it. Not exactly where I was expecting to go with it, but you might completely disagree with me. But I prefer that over my original sample. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I'll post this on the Eureka fan page and hopefully an image of it in the light. We'll see how we get on. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.